Hello, my name is Stephen from K-Scale Models, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a mecha style head in Fusion 360. Now, the first thing to note is some of the heads can be rather difficult to make. I've got a few examples of what I will be going over, and I would recommend combining elements from each to give you a final result. So I'll just show you quickly the three heads that I am working with. So we have the first one, as you can see, is very blocky. This one is very round, and this one it's round and tapered. So this is the most difficult one to make, but we're going to come back to this fella later. First off, let's start with the blocky head, because this kind of sets the scene for how you would make it. So, like all designs like this, break it down into the most simple components. Now, first thing I did wasn't to do that, and I'll show you what I did. So I basically made a little boundary box to say, hey, this is the size of the head that I'm replacing. In this case, it was the Freedom Gundam from Gundam Seed. It's the old high grade. I've got the little peg bit in there, so that's what this is to connect to. I've got the front and the back, and yes, I'm dyslexic and spelt things wrong. Sue me. So, then taking this, I'll just show you the boundary box. It doesn't quite fit because this particular design, this boundary box was used for another design. This was actually the first one that I drew up. This was a much later one. So, as you can see, I've drawn out all the basic shapes that I'm wanting. So I've got the sort of upper head area, the sort of crest on top. This is the sort of vision area and sort of lower head. This is the sort of ear part, and this is the sort of jaw part. So if you're looking at a mecha style head, you'll notice that there is several distinct areas, and I'm describing them as if they were human. Bear in mind, you may be able to use other analogues such as animals or your own imagination. So, what I've done is, for the first couple of bits, I've just extruded things out. Now, you'll have noticed that with this, it's not fully defined, and there's a reason for that. I'm just messing around. I'm not doing anything major. I'd recommend to fully define your sketches so that you can alter them later. It makes it a little easier. But yeah, this is just a simple tutorial to show you how it's done, and I'm not too worried about dimensional accuracy. So I've just extruded out all of those, making them new components because I will be editing each of these individually. And as you can see, I start to use the draft modifier. So draft is up here under modify. So I would select, say, this face as the pull direction, this face as the face I wish to modify, and just taper it in wherever I want. So I've done that quite a lot. I've also chamfered areas. So chamfered that back area to give it that sort of more Gundam-y look. I have also done fillets on the original design up here, but I will later come back, and as you can see here, I've done a couple more fillets. I've done a fillet in there after tapering that in, and then I've just filled the whole of that upper part. So more chamfers all around, because chamfer everything and hope that Fusion doesn't crash on you. Yeah. Just a couple of extrusions, offsetting faces. Ooh. Yeah, just detailing up the nose part with several chamfers, because what I find is when you're making a design like this, to add more like diversity and more appeal to it, don't just do, say, one chamfer. Go in and then chamfer that area again. Gives you a sort of gradient, and that can look quite interesting. I'll show you where that can actually become more effective in something like this. But anyway, back to this one. So yeah, just simple chamfer everywhere. For the mono eye area, I've just made this sort of part up here. It is meant to represent like this is like the track the mono eye would run along. You can detail this up further. I'm just doing a quick thing so that you can sort of get an idea. I do cut into the face area because, yeah, it's going to be filled with greeblies. So just, again, taper that out so we've got a nice wide area for the camera to run around in. And then just add in the mono eye. That was just a simple rotate of a sort of lens shape. You'll notice something else. I'm only doing half of the model. It's because why do like twice the work when you can just do half the work and get the same outcome? Because what I'll do is I'll mirror everything over and I'll combine it. So this is now all one body. Added a couple of pipes for detail. So yeah, this is all just me adding in detail at this stage. So yeah, that is how I would design a blocky style head. However, a lot of the time when you're coming to do something like that, you're going to be dealing with a more roundish head. So this is my attempt at a very round head. This has just been rotated. So go back here, have a look at this. This is actually based on the Jin's head. So I was making the Jin tar, a conversion for the Jin, and I need to make sure that something would fit over the head. So this was the sort of rough head shape there. Not perfect, but it worked. So after doing that, I just simply cut out the face area. I pushed it back again just to make it like give me more room to work with, because then I'm making this sort of track. It's not as detailed as the other one because this is just a quick example. So again, mono eye, that's the sort of nose area, and if I go to here you can see I just chamfer it all up to give it a better look. I've also added a pipe in here. Pipes are, if you're adding in actual pipes, you're often best to use the pipe command rather than sweep, which is another way of doing it. Sweep's better if you've got multiple changes of direction within a part. I'll show an example actually on this model of me doing that. So, first off here, I've made a little neck guard, just this sort of, trying to think what you would call this shape, just a little shape like that. And then I have swept it around and trimmed it back. And then I've just mirrored it all over because, again, why do twice the work? This is me just cutting bits off and filling internal voids, because with a 3D printed model, you do not want internal voids on your original model. You can add any voids of that in the actual slicing software if necessary. So this part is me making this sort of V-fin like structure. So let's go over how you would do that. First, you would draw a line tangential to the head surface that you're wanting. If this was a flat head, like say this, I would be drawing it like say, well, undo. I would draw something more along the lines of that. I would actually have it sticking away from here. So I would say 15 degrees. Oh no, 15 degrees. And then I would state where this was. In this case, what I did afterwards is I used that to get a plane. So this is now the plane that the V-fin will be on. I then take that and I draw this shape. So this is the path that the V-fin is going to follow. And I also make a line 90 degrees from the tangent of this. So if you're wondering what that means, essentially take a line that is connected to that and then do 90 degrees. Reason for that is we need to make another plane here on that to give us the shape that we're going to be using. So in this case, it's a sort of triangle roof shape with the house below. And then I've just swept it along there and said that it is to, I've lofted it along there to match to that point. So you can do it just as I said, profile 1, that, profile 1, that, profile 2, that, and do a center line of that original sketch that I was using there. Mirror over, make a little gem. And there you go. Now this one hasn't got the little bit in there for the connection point. This is just an example one again. The final head that I'm going to be working on or showing you is a more traditional Gundam style head. So let's go back and see what I did here. So again, I broke this down into a 2D picture of what I was looking for. So this is the sort of upper head, this is the crest. I was going to stick a sensor dome on top, but I was like, that doesn't look too good. This is the sort of ear area, and this is the face area. So from that, I make actually go back into this. So you'll notice that I've got these vertical lines all along these arcs. There's a reason for that. I'm going to be lofting everything together to make the shape. Problem is, I've got a 2D shape, and CAD is really good at turning 2D into 3D, but it's not good at turning 3D organic shapes like what we're dealing with here. So I make another plane at 90 degrees, and on that plane I draw this, which if we bring in that other sketch, each of these sections do line up with each arc. So that is me, like how I am sort of shaping the arc. So this arc is not the same as this arc. So as you can see, this arc is much wider than this arc. So gives a bit of a different sort of detail to, say, this head, which is just completely round. This is sort of more organic in its shape. So what I do once I've got my XY one is I then start playing join the dots. In this case, I've done several arcs because, as I said before, sometimes if you do multiple arcs or chamfers, it actually looks better, it looks more organic. So that's what's going on here. It didn't quite work, and when you actually go get this file and mess around with it, you will see that there's a lot of things internally that are not so great. So I'll get to those in a moment, but first off, when I'm doing these arcs, you can see I've done quite a few things. I have taken path 1, 2, and 3, that's fairly standard. I've used rails, so I've said, by the way, this has got to stay within this area. So it's kind of worked, but as you'll see later, not perfect. I do each individual section because I found if I do the whole lot at once, what happens is it gets a bit messy, it does weird things, and you get sort of ripples along the outer side, like the curved edge, which is not something you want. So, yep, just curves all the way. This one here, I have actually curved it in to match that dot there. So, this is me making the crest, seen that bit before. Just offsetting faces. Oh, hold on, just double check. Oh yeah, I was just offsetting it down. Right, so this is another sweep. What I've taken is my original design. Just see if I've done this right. Yeah, so I've taken the original 2D one there. I've also made another pattern down here and said I want this to be swept backwards along this path. I've then made sort of ear shaped. So that was just simply me going, oh, sorry. Where is it? Yeah, just a cut along this section to bring out the ears. And then just chamfering everything in. Cutting areas off of the face, but I'm also at this stage trying to fix this horrible mess. So you can see me like extruding things out, cutting things in. There was a lot of mess, and a lot of this didn't want to actually like connect to other bits. It was giving me errors. So yeah, it's not pretty at this stage. However, by the end, you'll start to see a difference. So yeah, actually, hold on. This is another interesting bit to show you. So go back a step because I've jumped one too far ahead. This is a faceplate, so you get these in quite a lot of Gundam. What you'll notice with these is they are often curved. If they are angled, you can still use it sort of the same method. All I've done is just extruded out. I'll go here, a flat shape like that, and then I've taken a I've taken a drawing on the bottom of it and just cut up based on this sort of tangent, or not tangent, curved area there. And this curves that off nicely. Now I have moved things around here. Again, a lot of mess, but it gets all fixed by the end. And we get this. These horns are pretty much, if I just go to sorry, trying to figure out where these horns were in the timeline. Ah, there they are. So yeah, these are just another loft using the same thing as what I did for the V-fin, except this one's just the horns. So yeah, as I've said at the beginning, CAD isn't always the best for doing this type of head, but if you're like me and only know CAD, there is ways of producing it without resulting to one user when I was like going over this on the 3D printed Gunpla form suggested using forms to make these things. I don't know how this works, so I'm not going to be using them. But as I said, there is ways of doing it. You just have to break things down into individual shapes, and if you're going to be doing like complex curve shapes like this head here, you will need to use the loft method, but you don't always have to do this. Now, there is one final drawing that I'm going to be showing. Say you are taking an existing model kit and you are, like, say, making a modified version of the head. How do you go about measuring it up? Because if it's a complex curve like this, like this, that can be quite difficult. What I'd recommend to do is what I call datum lines. And I've just messed that up completely because I've not actually locked this particular model down. Undo. So, what I've done here, and this has actually not been done right because it didn't, oh no, it doesn't want to connect, that's fine. I've taken datum lines, so I've said this is 0.0, where is this in relation to that? So this is 3.5, this is 5.9, this is 10.2, and then I've done the same thing. I've said, okay, where does everything lie, like this lie in relation to this? So in this case 5.8, and the back bit here 5.45. So that's me just got the bottom shape. I've then, I've then worked out where the top would be if it continued on, and then worked out again datum points where things were and just drew a sketch to match that, and then lofted the two areas together. So this was originally part of the Leo EWAX. there's some things I still need to mess around with this. Like you can see in here that is a curve where it shouldn't be. That's based on these bits here, so I need to go in and fix that. This model probably won't get uploaded with everything else because there's things I still need to work on with it. So I hope you found this useful, and let me know if you from this tutorial are able to make any of your own unique Gundam style heads. For now though, thank you for watching, and I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye.